Hello and welcome to EZGlutenFree. Today I'll be showing our friends at favediets.com how to make a gluten-free ham and cheese stromboli. Now anyone who's ever worked with gluten-free pizza dough knows that it behaves much differently than regular dough, making it a little tough to work with. But today I'll give you a recipe and a few tricks that will enable you to not only accomplish the stromboli, but also the calzone as well. Stay tuned till the end to catch both of these recipes. Now to make the stromboli we'll need 1/4 pound of ham thinly sliced, 1/4 pound of provolone, 7 ounces of Greek yogurt, 7 ounces of gluten-free Bisquick. Now I use the yogurt container as a measuring cup, being careful only to fill the Bisquick to the same level where the yogurt had been, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and 1 tablespoon of grated cheese, which is optional and just used as a flavoring agent. We'll also need an egg wash, which is just an egg beaten with a tablespoon of milk. Now first, preheat the oven to 375 degrees. Now combine the yogurt, Bisquick, olive oil, and Parmesan cheese in a medium mixing bowl and mix until you have a smooth bowl of dough with the consistency of Play-Doh. I found that using the back of a metal spoon in a smashing type motion along the bottom works best. Now place the entire bowl of dough onto a piece of plastic wrap and begin patting it into a rectangular shape. Now the plastic wrap can really help you clean the edges up. You can start out by taking one edge of the plastic wrap and folding it inward towards the center, and then smoothing out the edge with your hand before unfolding the plastic wrap and moving on to the next edge. Once you have a fairly good rectangular shape in place, you can place a second sheet of plastic wrap on top of the whole rectangle, then using a rolling pin from the center to the edges, flatten out the sheet of dough until you've achieved a rectangle that's roughly 10 by 13 inches. Now top the entire sheet of dough with ham, leaving an 1.5 inch border along one long edge. Repeat this process with the provolone. Now use the plastic wrap to roll up the stromboli. Start with a fold about 1/4 of a way up the width, then peel back the plastic wrap before folding a second time. Once you've folded it the third time, you should end up with a seam on the center of the bottom. Now you can slip your hand under the plastic wrap to easily transport it to a baking sheet lined with foil and sprayed with nonstick spray. I didn't crimp the ends of this at all because I figured that the ham or provolone wouldn't really run too much. It was sort of like an experiment and I wanted to see exactly what would happen. Now bake it at 375 degrees for 20 minutes, then remove it from the oven, paint it with the egg wash, and bake it for another 15 minutes. Let it cool for 10 to 15 minutes before cutting and serving. I got about 14 slices out of this one. Now beyond this being a great party dish, if you take a few slices and pair it with some fruit or a nice salad, you'll have a perfect lunch. But let's move on to the calzone. Using the same dough recipe, I divided it into 2 equal parts before rolling it into 2 circles with an 8-inch diameter using the same techniques we covered in the first part of the video. Then I put down a few slices of provolone, then a layer of pepperoni, being careful to leave a 1-inch border around the entire edge. Next I added a small pile of mozzarella cheese, only on the bottom half. Then I topped that with about a tablespoon of marinara sauce before using the plastic wrap to help me fold it in half. I also used the plastic wrap as I crimped the edges. Then I peeled back the plastic wrap and used a fork to crimp the edges again. Then I cleaned the edges up by lifting the saran wrap and crimping with my finger. Now once I had transferred them to a baking sheet, I brushed each with an egg wash before slicing 2 air vents into the top of each one, being careful to pierce through the pepperoni layer. Then I baked them at 375 for 22 minutes. If any cheese happens to leak out, simply trim it off. And after a few minutes of cooling, these are ready to serve. I really hope that you're convinced that whether you're making a calzone or a stromboli, this recipe is really doable with gluten-free dough. Give it a try, and if you'd like to see this recipe in print, you could always visit my blog. And for more free, healthy recipes and tips for virtually any diet, visit my friends at favediets.com. See you again soon.